Okay, we are on live. Hopefully this is going through. Um, Kevin, I don't know if you want to go ahead and take it from here.
Sure, love to, Steve. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule this evening to hear Dr. DeQuino and myself speak a little bit about boosting your immunity through hormone optimization. My name is Kevin Sullivan, and I'm the San Diego Territory Manager for BioTE Medical. And I'm very excited to be here tonight with Dr. DeQuino. And but just a little bit of housekeeping. First off, this presentation is obviously live. We ask that you would be muted just for a fluent presentation and also for any background noise. And if you have any questions, please write it in the chat. Dr. DeQuino or myself will answer those questions for you, and I hope you have a lot of them. So just a little bit of background real quick. I've had the pleasure of meeting and working with Dr. DeQuino as one of our BioTE providers, and I'm so thrilled to be doing this with you tonight, Steve. And he'll be discussing, like I said, just immune boosting strategies through bioidentical hormones, and just talking a little bit more about what we do at BioTE, and just bringing clarity to taking better ourselves in these crazy and interesting times. So, but before we get started, I wanted to do a little background information on Dr. DeQuino. He is the owner and founder of Revivify, Restorative Medicine in Rancho Bernardo, California, North County, San Diego. Dr. DeQuino is educated in providing quality bioidentical hormone treatments as a certified BioTE physician, as well as providing quality occupational medicine through family medicine and also through sports medicine as well. A couple fun facts of him. He was correct me if I butcher this, but a team physician for San Diego State. I'm reading his bio, so I'm reading, guys. I'm sorry. A team physician for San Diego State, USA Boxing, and also WWE Wrestling. So all you wrestling junkies out there, check it out. It's pretty awesome. So, but currently being the owner of Revivify Medicine, he is undoubtedly one of the hot doctors we have up here in North County, San Diego, and just whatever through his passion, just to being dedicated to improving health and well-being for each of his patients is something we truly value. And what we're going to talk about tonight with people, it's evidence-based and it's an individualized procedure that it will affect each one of us. So, but I don't want to steal the stage, Steve. So I'm going to hand it off to you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thanks, Kevin. And hopefully everybody is able to hear me. If there's any issues with connections, just simply go ahead and text us down there in the chat. So what I'm going to do here is, Kev, no offense, I'm going to go ahead and turn you off here so that I can see the chat box here on Facebook as well. So folks, if you do have any comments, or there are any issues, just simply go ahead and shoot a message in there. So there is a little bit of a delay, about 20 to 30 seconds actually, between my talking and when I'm able to see things, or you're able to see things. So there's a little delay between that and the chat. So if you do see a delay, don't be surprised. I do apologize for that. But like Kevin had just said, my background, I'm a traditionally trained family practice doctor. I've been in practice now for 20 years. I've done a fellowship in primary care sports medicine as well. And I have had the opportunity to go ahead and work with a lot of both weekend warrior type athletes to collegiate level, high school level, Olympic level, and even professional athletes. And during that time, there's a few things that I've started to kind of pick up on and change in the way that I practice medicine. And being a traditionally trained doctor, we learn a lot of things by the book. We learn things about labs. We learn how to treat diseases and treat problems when they come up. We didn't learn a lot about how to actually optimize health or how to prevent illness. They go into preventive medicine quite a bit, but I'm talking about preventing the symptoms, not just the lab values, not just the positive tests, but the issues that lead up to those positive tests. I'll get into that in a little while. So what I'd like to go ahead and talk to you guys about tonight is specifically BioTE and the BioTE method. And what BioTE method is a way of treating hormone imbalances in people in a unique but also complete way. I mean, looking at everything, all-encompassing way. And I've been impressed by this both by the doctors who've been doing it before me, and I've asked around quite a bit before I started this. And they've all been extremely happy with the way that it is run, the way that it is applied, and also the quality measures that are in place. So there's a lot of quality control behind this. Bioidentical hormone replacement has been around for a long time, but there's a lot of I don't want to say Wild West about it, but kind of is. It's everybody practices it a little bit differently. Some people will concentrate more on just estrogen or just testosterone. A lot of people will not put the whole big picture together, and that's what BioTE does, and it does it in a consistent and controlled way. So let's start out by just a quick overall of what are hormones. Okay. Hormones basically are little chemical messengers inside of our body. And what they do is they send signals. So if one thing wants something else to happen inside of our body, it has to send out a messenger, okay? Think of it like a text message. Sends out one of these chemical messengers into our bloodstream. Somewhere in our body, one of our cells is made specifically to receive that message, and when it does, it acts out a certain response, okay? So they're all over our body. They're in every tissue. They come from multiple different glands. But there are some key ones that make us feel good or not feel good. And those are the ones we're going to concentrate on tonight is estrogen, which is the primary hormone that people think of the sex hormone in women. Progesterone, which is another sex hormone that happens in women. But estrogen is also present in men. It's not as at a high of a level as it is in women, but it definitely is present and it does play a role. Next one is testosterone. Again, something that people think of as the sex hormone in men. Testosterone is what makes a man a man. However, again, it's in women as well. And the funny thing is, if you look at the actual numbers, there's more testosterone in a woman than there is estrogen. It's just the matter of the balance, okay? Whereas in a man, the testosterone level's up here, the estrogen level's down here. In a woman, the testosterone level's down here, and the estrogen level's over here. So it's balancing things out the right way to get the effects that they're meant to play out. The other thing that we're going to look at tonight is thyroid hormone. Okay, thyroid is a gland that sits right at the base of the neck here, and you can think of the thyroid like a thermostat. When it's up, everything's up. Metabolism is sped up. You're jittery, you're fast, you're hyper. When it's low, you're sluggish, you're slow. We'll get into it a little bit in a little while, and we'll get into more depth and more detail. But that's kind of the thyroid regulates everything. And then the other one is TSH, which actually comes from a gland up in your base of your brain called the pituitary, which is your brain's way of telling you the thyroid to make more thyroid hormone. So we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. So when our hormones are out of whack, and by the way, I'm going to try and do all of these in less than 30 minutes because I know I don't want to keep everybody on here. I want to give a good overview, 20,000 foot view of what this is and what BioTE method is. And then further questions, and we can either write them down in the chat with me. You can go ahead and also there's a sign up for a contact page on the Facebook page as well. Which you can go ahead and enter your information in, or you can, of course, always call me down at the number at the bottom of the screen. But this is, again, meant to be a 20,000 foot view. So if our hormones are out of balance, and they all get out of balance as we age, we're going to see a lot of things. And you're going to look at these symptoms on the screen right now, and you're probably going to be able to pick out 5, 6, if not half of these that apply to you. Extreme fatigue, that 3 or 4 p.m. thing where you hit the wall and everybody's like all about getting an energy drink or going ahead and getting one of those 4-hour energy things. That can be part of hormone imbalance. Mood swings, irritability, anxiety, lack of sleep. If you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, all of us do it to get up in the middle of the night to go pee or something. But it's when we get up and you just can't get back to bed, which then sets you off for an entire day where you're groggy, you're tired, and all the rest of these symptoms will get worse. You get forgetful. You get that brain fog where everything is a little muddy as you go through your day. You're not able to concentrate the way you used to. You don't have the focus or the drive that you used to. Some people can get hot flashes, night sweats, and it's not just women, okay? Men can get them too. You may get weight gain, or you'll have a difficult time dropping the weight that you picked up. It's not like you were 20 years ago, okay, where you can just drop it in a few weeks. It can take months, if not years. You can get joint pain, those backaches, knee pain, headaches, and then, of course, when everybody thinks about hormone imbalance, they always think about sex drive, sexual performance, etc. There's also things with real medical problems that can happen, where we're talking about things like Alzheimer's, dementia, heart disease, cancers, blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes. Those can all become worse when hormones are out of balance as well. So it's a very big picture. It covers a very broad spectrum, and they're all important, and we can do something about them. So when we have optimal hormones, besides people talking about sex drive, which everybody talks about with this, the biggest things are this overall sense of well-being. I feel healthier. I feel like I'm in a better mood. I have the motivation. I'm able to do the things and complete them that I want to go ahead and do. Less anxiety, better sleep. If you're feeling better, your joints feel better, your back feels better, now you can get out and do exercise. You find you have increased exercise tolerance. And along with that, you're able to actually get that cholesterol down, get that blood pressure down, reduce that rate for heart disease, et cetera, et cetera. So overall, this is a great treatment, and it's easy, and I'll show you how. So what is BioTE method? I kind of already alluded to this. BioTE is a system where we look at overall the big four hormones here: the thyroid, testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. We also go ahead and use some medical grade nutraceuticals, which are nutrients, vitamins, minerals, okay, but in not quite prescription grade, but they're in a formulation where we feel comfortable using them in a medical setting. And that's to go ahead and give you the extra pieces that your body needs. Your body just doesn't run on calories. You need the proper nutrients. You need the proper minerals. You need all these byproducts, these extra cofactors for your metabolism to work the right way. Otherwise, you can have all the calories in the world, and things don't work the way they should. You can have gas in your car, but if you don't have any oil, something's not going to work right. So look at it like the oil, like the other fluids inside your vehicle to keep you running. So let's start off with testosterone. And again, people think of this as the male hormone, okay? Females have testosterone as well, and they've got a large amount of it, okay? Not as much as males, but a large amount of it. So it's present in both men and women, and as we age, the levels go down. You can see here on the screen, in men, we lose about 1 to 3% every year over the age of 30. Females, they're going to lose up to 50% a year over the age of 30. And low testosterone is actually what causes the majority of symptoms when women think about menopause, when they think of the hot flashes, they think of the bloating, they think of the fatigue. The majority of these symptoms that they complain about are actually testosterone as opposed to estrogen. And in a lot of systems, testosterone in women gets overlooked. And doesn't hear. It's get concentrated on. In fact, this is the big key factor with BioTE. Its optimal testosterone provides the most noticeable difference in both men and women, okay? And over the long term, both men and women, but in women, it protects the breast. In both men and women, it protects bone, brain, and heart as well. So another concept I want to talk about here is normalization. Normal versus optimal, rather, okay? Or treatment versus optimization. Most doctors, traditionally trained, myself included, we learn that if the number on the piece of paper that comes back from the lab shows that something is in the normal range, it's normal, and we don't treat it. Now, some of the things we're going to be talking about today have huge ranges, okay? We can have a testosterone range from anywhere from 300 up to 1,000. That's a huge range. And if you look here at this slide, normal can be anywhere in that middle white zone on that top bar. Optimal is kind of dead center, all right? So optimal is where we want to get this number to where you have the least amount of symptoms and you feel your best, but we're not going super therapeutic, meaning super high number or super low number while we're treating it. So if somebody came into me and they have a low normal, where in a normal office they'd say, it's normal, nothing we need to do about it, we will treat it to get you into the range where you're optimal and the symptoms improve. So that's something that I explain to all my patients, because I'm treating numbers that otherwise on your lab paper say they're normal, okay? So that brings me to this slide. This is a slide that shows what happens in our bodies about risk for major disease processes as our testosterone levels go down. If you look down towards the bottom left-hand side of the slide, you're going to see some numbers, 100, 200, 300, and up. Those are our levels in testosterone in our bloodstream. Around 300 is considered to be low-level normal. Below 300 is considered to be low. Above 1,000, 1,100 or so, depending on what lab you look at, is considered to be high. Anything between that 300 and 1,000 is normal, okay? But as we drop from those upper levels around 1,000, if you get about to 900, your risks for Alzheimer's disease go up. So dementia, things like that. When you get below 800, males that get prostate cancer actually get very aggressive prostate cancers below 800. Getting down below 700, metabolic syndrome. Okay, that's the beginnings of diabetes, high blood sugar, hypertension, high triglycerides, the gut. Okay, it all plays into the risk factors for diabetes, which then becomes risk factor for heart disease, risk factor for stroke. You can see osteoporosis on their bone thing. Okay, women below, we have to worry about your testosterone levels as well, because your bone density goes down as your testosterone levels go down. So we can actually help to prevent and correct bone density, where we can avoid osteoporosis and medications for osteoporosis. You can see their type 2 diabetes when it drops below 500, fatigue below 400, coronary heart disease, heart attacks below 350 or so, depression down at 300. And if you look there, the first symptom that you start to actually have when you're in the low range on a lab is erectile dysfunction. But look at all the things above it, and those are all considered normal values. So again, it's about optimization, not just treating a number. Okay? Moving on, positive effects. People who are getting testosterone, both men and women, the positive effects they're starting to feel, they're going to have the ability to start to lose weight, to lose body fat, increased energy, increasing that motivation to start to do things, less depression, less anxiety, mental clarity. They can think about things, get projects done, get work done easier. They're going to have improved sleep. That's a huge one that you'll see with a proper testosterone replacement, where they actually go to sleep, they fall asleep, they stay asleep, and they wake up rested. And then, of course, you have the sexual things, the increased sex drive, the better enhanced sexual performance. In women, protection against things like breast cancer, okay? In men, protection against aggressive type of prostate cancers. Again, we said before, brain and heart and building bone mass 8% a year. That's a lot more than you get in the medications that are out there for osteoporosis. Besides the muscle strength, and besides we already talked about lowering cholesterol. So again, let's jump into estrogen here. That's the next big one. It's present in both men and women. Women more than men, just like we talked about before. There's a lot of functions in estrogen throughout the body, okay? But one of the biggest things is maintaining bone density in the women, helping to maintain memory, maintaining the skin, the integrity of the skin, dry skin, less what we call turgor or elasticity to skin when you get low estrogen levels. One of the big things I hear from a lot of women is their friends are on estrogen replacement, and one of the big things they notice about them is the quality of their skin. Less acne when they're treated the right way. That glow to it. You get rid of some of the fine lines and wrinkles and things of that sort. It's a great treatment for skin problems. Increased serotonin and dopamine, which are actually the same neuromodulators that we target with things like Prozac, okay, with our antidepressants. So this itself, in and of itself, is an antidepressant. More things, positive effects for estrogen replacement, and get rid of the hot flashes. Testosterone does it as well. We talked about skin quality and lowering. Actually, this is pretty much a copy of the last slide. I do apologize. So let's go ahead and talk about the different ways that we give estrogen, okay, and testosterone for that matter. So the biggest things that we're going to see being given, we're going to see testosterone mostly be given by injection. So it's going to be a needle, and you're going to give it in the belly. Sometimes guys will give it in their leg. The thing about that is we give it once a week. If you want to do it optimally, it's twice a week. But what you're going to see is spikes. It's going to go up, and then it's going to quickly fall back down. And you'll get a rush from it when it pops up, and you feel great, but then very quickly it dies, it crashes. So what you'll also see with those spikes is you'll see some of the bad effects from it. And, estrogen's kind of the same way. Estrogen can be taken by mouth, it can be taken as a cream, or like we do it with a pellet. The problem there is when you're doing it orally, you see the spike each day. When you're doing it by a cream or a patch, it'll rise and then come back down. But when you do it by an implant with a pellet, the level goes up, stays consistent until that pellet dissolves. So you get rid of a lot of the side effects that come with the fluctuations in the levels. It's a consistent level, it's a predictable level, and you get an overall better quality response from it. The other thing is, people say, well, we can use it in the form of creams. Well, the problem there is when you place it on your skin, most of them will put them on their chest, shoulder, arm, maybe on the belly. Some women will use it inside the vagina. If you're using it that way, you're getting about a 40% absorption through the skin. So you're not getting what you're actually putting on your skin. The other thing is you can't tell exactly how much you're getting, and it's also relatively hard to measure a pump, to say this is exactly the right amount. The other thing about it is it's messy. It gets on things. It can get on your wife. It can get on your husband. It can get on the family pet. So it can get on the kids. So if you want to avoid it being exposed to other people, you're definitely supposed to wash your hands, supposed to avoid anybody for a little while, and it could be a pain in the butt. So the best, most consistent way possible is the way that we use in the BioTE method, and that's with the pellets. Let's quickly talk about thyroid. We've got about 10 minutes left here. Thyroid, again, sits at the base of the neck here. It works like the thermostat for the body. When it's up, everything's up. When it's down, everything's down. If we look at estrogen and testosterone alone without addressing thyroid, we miss that big interplay between all these hormones. And if we miss that, we miss an opportunity to really optimize the way a person feels, because your thyroid may have a lot to do with some of the symptoms that you're feeling that you may be blaming on estrogen or testosterone. So your thyroid is going to pump out two specific hormones, okay? T3, T4. T4 is actually the less active form, and it's the one that your thyroid will make more of. Your body will then convert T4 into T3 in the periphery, in the rest of your body, and T3 is actually the more active one. So you've got both T4 and T3 in your system. Conventional medicine will look at TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone, which is the hormone coming from your pituitary, which is your body's way of screaming, saying, give me more thyroid hormone. So if that number is low, it's saying you have too much thyroid hormone, which is a hyperactive thyroid or hyperthyroidism. If it's too high, it means your body's asking for a lot of it. It means your thyroid is low, or hypothyroidism. So most people have hypothyroid. The people who get hyper, it usually will either burn itself out, things like Graves' disease, Hashimoto's, or it will chemically be turned off if it's a thyroid storm or other problems. We have to turn it off. And then you become hypothyroid and you need to be on thyroid hormone. So the synthetic form that's out there is T4, or levothyroxine, which is Synthroid. It's been around for years. There are other forms of thyroid medication that are out there that are preferable and actually will give you both T3 and T4 in the proper ratios. We'll talk about that in a second. So let's talk about what happens with low thyroid, because it's common. About 30% of the population has some form of low thyroid. These people are not going to sleep well, and when they do sleep, they're going to be tired and groggy throughout the day. It may be the people that you know who are always cold. Their hands, their fingers, their feet. Everybody else in the room feels fine, but they're freezing. They may be constipated, really dry stools, no matter what they do to try to fix it. They may have very dry skin. They can gain weight. Periods can be effective. The big thing that you'll see with thyroid is hair loss or thinning. So if you have hypothyroid, you may see brittle or fragile hair that breaks, brittle nails. Your heart rate may be slow or abnormal. You can have arrhythmias that can be caused by it. They'll be depressed, memory will be problems as well, and they're also prone to get sick, get infections easier. Okay, again, we talked about this, about how to treat it, and we'll treat it with things like Nature Thyroid, WP Thyroid, which is desiccated thyroid made into medication where it has both T3 and T4 in the proper ratios. The other things that we'll use for thyroid are nutritional supplementation. Now, all of our thyroids run on, basically, they need iodine in order to function. So there's not a lot of us taking iodine supplements. There's also not a lot of us getting a lot of iodine in our diet. In fact, up until a few years ago, the main source of iodine in our diets was salt, iodized salt. So when we all started switching over to sea salts and pink Himalayan salt and kosher salt, we lost that iodine. So by properly supplementing iodine, we can actually effectively increase thyroid function. So it's another way that we'll work on that. Additionally, looking at a person's diet and thinking about things like anti-inflammatory diet, which is an entire lecture in and of itself, we can change the way that the body's autoimmune system reacts. And in a lot of people, they'll have antibodies against their thyroid. So by changing to an anti-inflammatory diet, you may see thyroid function improve. So let's talk about BioTE itself, all right? BioTE is an all-natural, bioidentical hormone. So these are the exact same structure that your body makes when it comes to estrogen and testosterone. They're made from plants, okay, yams or soy, and they'll go ahead and produce these, and then they'll take the hormone, compress it down into a tiny pellet. These are about the size of a large piece of rice when it comes to the testosterone pellets, and probably about a third of that size when you're looking at the estrogen pellets. Those can then go ahead and be placed underneath the skin in the subcutaneous fat, usually on the buttock, but we can use anywhere where there's a little fat, love handle, back of the arm, and that will go ahead and slowly release into your body over a period of time. In women, it tends to be about every 3 to 4 months that you need a new pellet that will last about that long. In men, it's about 5 to 6 months that it'll last. So it's much better than if you think about a man taking an injection twice a week, or a woman taking a pill every day, or somebody applying cream every single day. It's kind of a set it and forget it type of thing. So it works extremely well. You don't have to worry about when you're taking it, and you get consistent levels over time. We talked about this here. They've been around for a long time, by the way. They're extremely safe. There's a lot of bad news when it comes to hormone replacement out there. And it was run by a few studies that have since been proven to be wrong, and also didn't study bioidentical hormones. They studied synthetic hormones, which have some bad effects. There is no increased risk for things like the cancers and the heart disease, the stroke risk that were associated with the birth control pills that everybody would go ahead and rant and rave about up until a few years ago. It's taking a while, as most things do, for the medical community to go ahead and embrace the new thought process. And I've got all research on this. In fact, you can go to the BioTE website, find all the research on this, and confirm what I'm talking about. I won't get too much into the science part of it, but it's safe. That's the main thing to remember. Talked about this. And then let's get into the last bit here, and this is about the nutraceuticals, okay? This is the supporting role, the supporting players when it comes to the BioTE method. We talked about iodine already. Iodine is going to help to support your thyroid, help it to produce more thyroid hormone, and in a lot of cases, it can avoid us needing to supplement your thyroid. So it is something that we recommend with almost all of our patients when they're on this system. ADK, these are your fat-soluble vitamins. The 4 fat-soluble vitamins in the body are K, E, A, and D. ADK through BioTE is formulated in a way that it's going to be easy to take. It's once daily, and it's going to go ahead and support the low vitamin D levels that we'll see in a lot of patients. In fact, vitamin D being low is a huge thing in the United States. We all learn that our bodies can convert sunlight into vitamin D, and to be honest with you, that happens in the sebum, or the oils on the surface of our skins. What do we all do every day? Hopefully most of us take a shower. Once you take that shower, that sebum is gone, that conversion is gone, so you're not really getting as much as they think you do. So if you look at the levels, almost everybody is low. By supporting vitamin D, you're able to increase your immunity against viral illnesses. You're able to decrease your risk of infections, decrease risk of heart disease, stroke, heart attacks, etc. So this is something really good to go ahead and take. DIM. DIM is an estrogen blocker. All of us have the ability to convert testosterone into estrogen. The more weight we're carrying, the more testosterone we're going to convert into estrogen. But what DIM does is it blocks that aromatization. It blocks the conversion of testosterone into estrogen, and it blocks it in a way that protects us from the bad estrogens, the estrogens that cause the major problems. So DIM is a huge supplement and considered to be one of our key supplements when it comes to this method. And then lastly, probiotics. Probiotics, and this may not be the last one, I might have to correct myself in a second. Probiotics are natural bacteria, little bugs that live inside of our guts. Now, it used to be just in the realm of functional or alternative medicine where people would talk about gut health, okay? We didn't learn much about gut health in medical school, and it's only over the last few years that traditional mainstream doctors are starting to realize our gut has a lot to do with our immunity, has a lot to do with our overall health, it has a lot to do with our metabolism. So if your gut is in good health, a lot of those other issues go away. The inflammatory conditions, the things that cause more inflammation in our bodies. And inflammation is a key factor in a huge number of disease processes, cancers, heart disease, etc. So gut health, if you're paying attention to it, one of the things you should be doing is taking a probiotic to replenish the natural supply of good bacteria that are in our guts that help us to digest, help us to absorb nutrients, and help us to fight disease. And BioTE makes a great one that's easy to take and relatively inexpensive for some of the other ones that are out on the market. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on at a different time. But for now, the next step here, if you are interested, and I think we're right at 30 minutes, perfect timing. If you are interested in BioTE and you are interested in what it might be able to do for you, simple, easy. You give us a call over at Revivify Restorative Medicine. The number's on the screen is 858-429-0099. You can see us on Facebook, which you're probably doing now, Instagram, or even on YouTube, where I'm going to be recording more videos. And I'm hopefully going to be doing more of these BioTE and other services that we offer, or type of Facebook Live meetings. But Kevin, I'm going to bring you back on here in case there's anything else that you would like to add. One of the other things I just want to say to everybody is, if you come by the office, one of the things we can go ahead and supply to you that BioTE has given us is some of the books by Dr. Donovitz. Dr. Donovitz is the founder of the BioTE method. He wrote a terrific book about it. Very, very easy read. I'm happy to supply these over at the office. So if you want to swing on by here in Rancho Bernardo, makes for a great read and a great prequel to a consult so that we can talk about it at a higher level. But that all being said, Kevin, do you have anything else you'd like to go ahead and add?
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much for sharing tonight, Dr. DeQuino. I learned I learned a lot tonight too. So it's always good to get refreshers on my end too. So thank you for that. And like I said, I mean, just a call to action. If some of you might be interested in doing nutraceuticals, I mean, talk to Dr. DeQuino. The building and getting your autoimmunity or your body back into the right place. Now is the time to do it, you know. But I can tell you right now, having been on pellets now for I'm on my 6th round. Is that what it was, Steve?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think that's what we did the other night. Dr. DeQuino pelleted me the other night. How about that? So anyways, the change that it's been in my life and what a difference it's made in my life and with my wife as well. It has been a total game changer, guys. And I mean, I'm going to spare you with my story, but I'm going to tell you right now, I can't imagine my life without, you know, having this in my system. So, I mean, my testimony, I'm very passionate about what we do. And I know Dr. DeQuino is too. And I love going to bat with this guy. He's one of our best in North County. And so please, if you're interested, give him a call or set up a teleconference with, and we'll go from there.
All right. Sounds perfect. Thanks so much, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And everybody, like I said, there's going to be a link on the Facebook site where you can leave your information if you're interested.
Okay.
And I will go ahead and reach out to you. I posted that right after this post. Again, the phone number, 858-429-0099. And I look forward to talking to everybody. All right. Have a great night. Thanks again, Kevin.